Welcome to the New Economy. What's next? My guest today is Mr. Carlos Palacious, and we are going to be talking about entrepreneurship and multiple businesses. So stay tuned. So Carlos, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, DJ.
Why don't you start by telling the guests a little bit about the different types of businesses that you do and that you're involved with?
Sure. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. I'd like to just start by saying congratulations to you and your team and all the amazing works you've been able to do. I see you guys are rolling out new businesses and allowing new channels of entrepreneurship and opportunity. So congratulations on all of the milestones that you've achieved in a short amount of time from what it is.
Thank you.
Compares.
Thank you. But we exist to serve the community of entrepreneurs like
100%. 100%. And so, as you mentioned, this is, I refer to COVID obviously as the most trying time, I think, in our existence, but it allows probably for more opportunity than we've ever had. It's really a chance to try new things, take new risks, and through that comes the opportunity for new growth. My background, similar to yours, is in engineering. So I started out as a civil and structural engineer and then went on to be a coastal engineer. I started out at what was Caribbean Coastal Services as an intern. And today I'm managing principal of it. I have an amazing employee-owned team. And so, we've been able to grow to over 60 people, offices in the US, in other Caribbean countries, and we really service the development industry. And what I think is helpful, and you talked about multiple businesses, is it probably has to start with your own passions. Like it has to start with you finding your purpose, why you exist. And when I do talks to schools and with our interns, we take on over a dozen interns a year. My first question is, what is your core values and why are you here? Right?
Yeah, because otherwise it's not going to motivate. You can't fake this for long periods of time. This has to be you.
Exactly. And the money won't keep you. And the need for, let's say, a job won't keep you. You'll go through the motions because your bills, your family, etc. But it's really only your passions that keep you going. That's what makes you stay up at night. That's what wakes you up in the morning excited. And I think first determining what those are. And then as you've started to develop it, and it changes. You don't know it all. You'll grow and learn. But
Lord
that's
knows
how entrepreneurship happens.
I would say that's probably the fundamental truth is you definitely aren't going to know it all because no one does. And that's like you were saying about your team. You're surrounded by a team of professionals that are able to, you guys are able to fill different roles so that you can meet the goals of the organization.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what allows you to diversify, right? Because a business is like a baby. And the same way, like as a new parent, you have to learn how to take care of this baby. There's no manual. You can read all the books you want in the world. When that first poopy diaper needs to be changed, it doesn't matter what you've seen on YouTube.
I don't have any kids yet, so this is all theoretical for me.
For you, theoretical. I have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So
this is a known experience.
Oh yeah, trial by fire. So when you deal with that, you realize that a business is very similar. It starts out in its infancy stages. It really can't take care of itself at all. You're everything out the gate. You're the accountant. You're the lawyer. You're everything. And so just as you're everything for a newborn, and eventually it gains its legs. It grows, etc. And as it grows, comes the opportunity to have new experiences.
Yep. And just like a newborn, you're going to need that math teacher. Well, not as a newborn, but as the baby grows, then he's going to need specialists to come in and help them to get to the next level. And it's the same with companies. And we use that analogy as well, where when we're dealing with companies, because from the financing side, the financiers look for companies at certain developmental stages that have gone through, and then they say, okay, what's our money going to be used for? It's going to be used to put other structures in place to go after new opportunities. And that's basically business in 5 minutes, if we could say that. That's what it is. Yeah, but it's fascinating, because at the end of the day, you are surrounding yourself around, and your team around, an opportunity, and finding and creating value for those customers. Now, so you got your coastal engineering. There's also the other businesses that you're involved in.
Sure. So
what is their value propositions?
Sure. So obviously, by building the foundation of Braun, which is our multidisciplinary engineering, architecture, surveying, et cetera, it allowed us to have the foundation that's needed to be able to pivot. Right. So we have in-house HR, we have in-house IT, we have in-house finance. So once you get the back of house running, it allows you to now go and branch off. So with COVID and the significant shutdown in business, construction sites were closed, everybody's at home. There's nothing like when your bottom line goes to the bottom. And you're not making any money. Right?
All of a sudden, you become really creative, right?
Exactly. And that creativity also is sparked by your network. And so that's what's the other critical thing, right? So Lincoln Deal and Gil Kassar, they would have had this vision from over 5 years ago for Eden Farms. And timing just happened to not be right. So obviously, we have the infrastructure, we have the team, we have the resources, and that alignment meant that there's an opportunity, because everyone's talking about food security. Everyone's talking about eating healthy. You see what's happening with shipping and costs. I mean, we can produce locally cheaper now than you can bring in, and before you couldn't do that.
Yeah. So it's and what is so exciting about a company like Eden is that there is you don't have to worry about the supply chain issues, and in this world where a shipping container some of them are literally getting lost on a dock. In California, you can't rely on, certainly if you're doing fresh produce, you can't rely on those things.
You can't. And so obviously we've done a lot of studies over the years, and on average, when the time it takes for something to be picked to the time it sits on your plate in the Bahamas is about 3 weeks. So I always challenge anyone, like, take a leaf from your yard, pick it, and put it in your fridge and see if it lasts 3 weeks. That will show you it's very, very hard to really have fresh, et cetera. And studies show that about 45% at least of the nutrition is lost by the time it gets to your plate.
Wow.
Right. So now you take that, and our produce lasts 3 weeks in your fridge because it's only being picked a day or two ahead. And so what we look at is opportunities, one, to develop our country, two, to create things that are scalable. And like, our farm is run by all ladies. Our farm managers, female Jade, her assistant Amber, our founding farm manager Letitia, et cetera. So we look for opportunities, one, to create equality, to be honest, because in engineering, it's male dominated.
Very much a male dominated area.
Absolutely. Two, for young people. So like the average age across all of our companies, and we have a few, is 29, to put it into perspective.
That's pretty good. That's really good. At Arawak X, we get to say it's 33, which is still pretty young. I mean, you
guys are old, man. You guys are old.
I know. We're but anyway.
So so when you look at it, right, there's just so many things, and the emergence of technology now, with metaverses and cryptos and NFTs, and that's a whole different topic. But the opportunity to really let young people, young Bahamians who've studied and really gone global, to bring the best back to the Bahamas and then export it to the world. See, that's what's exciting.
Yeah, because now, obviously you meet local demand, and then the next scale jump is to sell into these big markets and start to compete with, some of the US distributors, and especially in produces, in products that they don't grow there. So there's a ton of opportunity there's a ton of scalability. Obviously, I imagine you have some problems associated with, I imagine the difficult part with food is finding distribution, finding consistent new source of customers, because obviously your customers are big companies. But it's a fascinating, the food business is fascinating too.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the reality is don't forget, we import $1 billion worth of food a year. So it's so big that you're not coming to penetrate it anytime soon, to be real, in a reasonable way. And the quality that's imported is so mediocre, let's say, or up and down, that there's really an inconsistency.
We've all been in a Publix. We've all been
Oh,
a Publix in Florida. You know
yeah,
what that looks like.
exactly. And we've all probably bought like raspberries here before, or strawberries. And by the time you get home, half of your raspberries are rotten.
Yeah.
That's it. So finding needs, finding solutions. And so the key element of how we approach it is, how are you different? What are your differentiators, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we say that Eden is a technology business because everything runs, it's fully automated through apps, etc. It's all climate controlled. It's a technology business that does farming, right? And so we can grow anywhere. We can grow in a hurricane. The temperature in our systems is 60 degrees. You obviously can't grow in the Caribbean for 60 degrees year round. So it allows us to be pesticide free, herbicide free. We use significantly less water. And it just allows us to use technology to leverage where we are to maximize.
You're getting into my favorite subject. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back to talk about a little bit more about the technology and food.
Sure.
So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm DRC Ramming, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Arawak X. Arawak X is a fully regulated securities exchange in the Bahamas. We are the financial gateway to the Caribbean. We match investors with startups and high-growth companies over the internet. Come talk to us at Arawak X to learn more about our diverse portfolio.
So yeah, talking about technology, food. You were explaining how you guys, it's fully automated, temperature controlled. You're able to use no pesticides. So you're basically, what you're saying is this is the modern way of eating from the yard.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. And when you look at the biggest challenges to growing and farming, right? It's often driven around weather. So too much rain, not enough rain, so drought, or a hurricane. I mean, you can plant hundreds, thousands of acres. One hurricane comes through, that's it. You've lost it all. It gets inundated with salt water, and now your soil is actually toxic, and it takes years sometimes to recover. So you get rid of all of those types of things. So our next phase is actually a large scale facility, and that will be able to mass produce to significantly help contribute to our food security. And food security is national security. I mean, we saw it in COVID. You go in the food store and things aren't there on the shelves. So imagine a war or any other type of scenario where global trade is impacted.
Well, I mean, it's certainly hurricanes again and things like that. So, it is a real issue. It is a real problem. And I think COVID has just kind of ripped the veneer off of the fact that there was a problem from before. And shifting just a little bit, with a business like that, where are you getting your seed? Are you doing your own seedlings? You're doing your own, how does somebody start a business like that?
Sure. So I would say you start a business like this with time. Time. And that's what I think that was honestly my downfall with earlier businesses that I would have started that didn't grow. You want to do it all too quickly, too fast. And you have to creep before you can walk, back to our childhood analogy. So back to your seeds question, for example, the head of our environmental department, Mark Daniels in Braun, who became our head grower in Eden, his background is in plants, botany.
Oh,
his master's is he's actually done cloning of seeds, to put it into perspective.
Very nice.
He worked in hydroponic farming. So once again, you might be an entrepreneur. You have a certain set of skills, you have certain passions, etc., but you don't have the expertise necessarily to execute on your own dream. And that's where it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people. The persons who I mentioned, they are all their backgrounds. They studied plants. I know nothing I can't pretend to know, other than being in the field in the backyard with my Grammy. I don't know anything about planting.
My grass in the backyard is dying, so I don't.
Yeah.
The green things. I eat green things. That's all I know about them.
Exactly.
But it's fascinating because we do have such a tradition of kind of the small scale farming. And what you guys are doing at Eden is you're taking that tradition, that love of it, because these are all Bahamians that obviously said, I want to go out and study plants and botany and farm, agricultural studies, things like that. And you're able to now monetize it. And that's the beautiful thing of business, is making that shift of where you love and monetizing it. So question for you, like how, there's so much to talk about with this kind of business, but you have another project that you're doing, correct?
Yeah. So we make compostable products from aragonite. So that company also birthed in COVID. Everyone was making noise, aragonite. It's, you remember all of the controversy around it. So my background is once again in coastal engineering. So I have, obviously it's sand, it's out the ocean. So I have some technical understanding of it, but there was no real translation of how that could become products. So we literally just started to Google it and connected with some people. And once again, our team, we have marine scientists, we have coastal engineers, et cetera. So we have strong technical team members, and their brilliant brains came together, and with partnering with the right people, R&D, et cetera, we're able to figure out how to produce products. And so right now, we actually supply a lot of the compostable straws that are used here that are replacing those paper mushy straws that everyone hates. And so once again, it's an opportunity to export, right? To now get into exporting, servicing. So we probably make the cheapest compostable straw on earth, to put it into perspective. And
that's awesome. That's really awesome.
So there's just so many opportunities. Once again, it's timing, because you needed to have, for example, the ban on plastic straws. That had to happen, right? Because people wouldn't have a reason to pay more for a straw. You needed to have the paper straws that everybody hates, because if you don't, if you like something, you're less likely to change it.
You're not going to change.
Exactly. So all of those things had to happen. So then once you try straws, you realize, I can also do cutlery. I can also do souvenirs. There's all of these other opportunities that you didn't realize if you didn't even get started. And it's
very excellent. Very excellent. Very, very excellent. Let's continue this after the break. My director's giving me a warning sign. So we'll see you in a bit.
You hear about this Walk X? All right, this is what you're gonna need. First thing is, we gotta go on their website. But to do that, you're gonna need a stable internet connection. You still have the neighbor Wi-Fi? All right, put it in my phone right quick. All right, now that's the easy part, all right? Go to rwalkx.com, click Start Investing. Let's go to the start application process. Then you got to fill out the application and upload your KYC.
Why the internet moving so slow? Who on this internet? I hope y'all didn't give that boy from around the corner the password no more.
I know what you're asking, right? What is KYC? That's chicken I know chicken in it. Anyway, that's the thing, to make sure that you're a real person and you ain't just trying to use it to wash money or nothing like that. So the application could take up to 3 days to approve. Why you acting like that long? How long your girl been waiting for you to marry up? From phone card time, bro. From phone card time. Once your application approved, they can send you the sign-in wipes. That's what I say. That's the same thing. Anyway, once you done sign in, you could start investing. They can still ask you a couple questions just so you can finish off your investor profile though. So this is the part right there. You need to figure out who you can invest your money in. You can invest in companies like Groove, Red Lobster, Grow, or my company. My company ain't on there yet, you see. We still waiting approval. Anyway, what you need to do now is click invest. Pay attention to all the information that pop up, because all that is important. Make sure you write that down. Write down the account and the banking information and then place your order. Next, you get an email about risk awareness. That's just because they want you to know sometimes things don't go exactly how you want it to go. But they need you to be aware so that you could enter into the investment with both eyes open and so you don't get swing. Not like your girl who been waiting on you from the time you promised her a ring and then you spend the whole weekend in 601. You remember that then? Now you can pay for the wipe. The information, it can pop up on the screen, right? And then you got to use that information to pay through like your bank or Sun Cash or wire transfer if you fancy. If you fancy. Then send proof that you pay to the email. Sometimes it's a download receipt button, but if not, just screenshot it. Then you should get a pending message while the money getting processed. You could always call them if you have any questions.
Yeah, we were talking about the opportunity that exists from making compostable things out of aragonite, and your company has recognized that there's an opportunity there. You guys have recognized, you've put together, you say the one product right now is the straws, or are you doing the other compostable things?
So right now we do compostable bags as well.
Bags,
so
straws and bags?
Yeah,
cool.
Straws, bags, and cutlery. Those are the three things we're focusing on right now. We were able to R&D, get them out quickly. And they're things that are sort of high volume, so you can, build, because everything's about building confidence in the market.
Yep.
You could set up great, big, great back-end processes and all of that. But if people don't want to buy it in large volumes, then you're not, and there's no business. Exactly.
There's no business there.
So right now, Bahama, they use our straws, Titan Hospitality. So all of the grills, et cetera, they use it. Island House, a lot, we have dozens of clients right now, and they've been able to, you have to just get in the door. You have to be able to consistently provide also high quality products. And that's often a challenge, right? So if you have it 1 month and then you don't have it the next month, that doesn't work.
No, because you need the consistency more than you need pretty much anything, because the worst thing in the world is to say to your customer, sorry, we don't have any straws because the straw guy didn't deliver them. And that's not something you want to be having a conversation with, especially when a guy paid $15 for a drink. So it's interesting. So I am getting a feel for kind of like, you're very interested in consumables, consumer products. It's for the folks at home, every business has its secrets. He's being very modest in the amount of research it takes and the amount of licks it takes to figure out those secrets. And that's why oftentimes you'll see people specialize, and nobody can really do everything, because you need certain skills, you need certain understanding of the timing of things, especially when you're growing fresh produce. I imagine the timing for your straws and your compostables doesn't matter so much. You're just trying to get them sold as fast as possible. But with fresh produce, there's an expiration date. So I say that to say, because it is complicated, but at the core of it, it's about finding a product that people want, meeting those demands, marketing to them, listening to your customers, being truthful and honest. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to manage that many knowledge workers, because you got a lot of knowledge workers there. And when you're dealing with people that can think, people don't like to be bossed around. They want to do their job. They want to show up to do their job because it's what they love.
And like so, I said, we're employee owned, so we also take pride in making sure that as we open doors, we're opening doors for everyone with us. And we all can go through the same door. We all can grow together. And it drives creativity. It drives a sense of ownership, and it drives continuity, because you want to, it's a cliche, but I really appreciate it. You really want to be the dumbest person in the room. Like, you really want to. If you're the one who everyone's coming to for the answers, you're trying to figure everything out, then you have the wrong team around you. You need people who can soar without you, but you work together, you come together through some common bond, through a company, core values, et cetera, that allow you all to move forward. No question about it.
Most excellent, most excellent. I'm sitting here, I'm learning a lot from you. You know, it's we too are have employee vesting, so employee owned. And we've noticed the level of work is that we get out of people, the level of productivity is because it's not just a job for them, it's what they do. Like coming back to what you said at the beginning, this is about, you know, doing what you're passionate about, and of course making money but doing it, but you know, meeting customer needs, being passionate about it's lining up everybody's interests in a way that is beneficial to everyone. What do you think is 2022 has in store for first your company, but also then the country and then the world, you know, at large? What do you think is going on? Because I do want to talk a little bit about the future too.
Sure, no problem. So yeah, I think the future in terms of what we're seeing, especially in this new blockchain-driven world, I think is extremely opportunistic. I think the trend of the globe and the Bahamas being more environmentally conscious, looking to preserve who we are a bit more in terms of culture, et cetera, and then even just in terms of health, happiness, wholeness, et cetera, is just an amazing time to be alive. I mean, we're still in a global pandemic, so there's a lot of support, there's a lot of sensitivity that's needed. And through that, I think the efforts that, for example, you and your team are making, that we're trying to do at Eden and Blue Terra and Braun, et cetera, it's a new generation of Bahamians, of young people who are in the right time because we're here with the technology.
Exactly.
And when you put all of those things together, we have a major part to play. So we all need to continue to do our part, to innovate it, to network, et cetera, so that we as a country, as a people, as small island developing states can all continue to propel forward.
You know, and it's great that you touched on that, because that is, I think, what the millennial generation, you know, the old people, they say, what do these millennials want? Well, we want to make a difference. We want to add value. The skills you sent us away to school to learn all this stuff, we want to do it.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just in a book.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I think people need to understand with our generation, that's what it's about. And of course making money, yes, but you know, I can't stress enough that that shouldn't be the only driving feature for you to be in business. Now, speaking of which, do you have any words for any aspiring entrepreneurs that are thinking about making the jump?
Sure. So if you're looking at entrepreneurship, I always say everyone should be an entrepreneur anyway. So whether you're working a 9 to 5, whether you're unemployed, whatever your status, whether you're in school, you should have what I call a side hustle or something going on. If people come to your house and say, oh, these are the best conch fritters ever, you should be making and selling conch fritters. If you, for example, when I was 6 years old, I was selling cup and freezy out my house. All right.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
You have to find something. And the valuable part of it is you learn skills. So keeping, let's say, the books for your conch fritter business. How much I spent on conch? When did I get a consistent supply? How much did I make? How much is my delivery? How much I spend on gas? Starting small. I mean, you might only be making a couple of $100 a month, even if that. But the skills and the traits that you learn with small things will be the skills and the traits that you do with big things. How you manage $1,000 is how you will manage $10,000. The discipline and respect by which you manage 10,000 is 100,000, is a million, is 10 million, etc. So you'll learn new skills, which will help you to level up, let's call it. But the core disciplines of entrepreneurship, time and money management, will be the same. So start small and grow from there.
Very good, very good. So a lot of wisdom from Mr. Palacious here, from Carlos. I would say if you ever find him out someplace, you probably buy him a beer and just let him talk your ear off. because I'm learning a lot. And that's an invitation to a beer, by the way.
Absolutely. With a blue Terra straw and some Eden lettuce on the table.
There you go. There you go. This was Carlos Palacious, and thank you for coming on the show. And to my guests at home, we'll see you next time.